It's snowing out. Hey everybody, welcome back to Make Stuff Better. We have an emergency build today. Let me show you why. It's snowing out and I gotta clean the driveway. I started and I went, you know what, there's a better way to do this. So me being who I am, I'm like, I want to be inside. Well, no, I don't like being inside. That's not me at all. But the part about me that is like me, not the parts that aren't like me, because those are not good parts. This is my last opportunity, because it's late March, to build a plow truck to plow the snow. So we have an emergency build. We're building a little plow for my TRX4, and we're going to plow the driveway with it. Excuse the mess on the bench. This is my TRX4 on tracks. I didn't clean it the last time I was out playing with it, and it was like muddy snow, so that's what we have. And I have paint stir sticks. I only have 4. If I had 5, I'd probably use 5, but we're gonna try this. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all of these, stick them together in the shape of a plow, and bolt it on there. And these are great, so if you want to like go do this yourself, these are free at the paint store. You just go, hey, can I get some 5-gallon stir sticks? These are 1-gallon stir sticks, so they're almost like giant popsicle sticks. So if you're into crafty things like that, these are amazing for things that are a little bit bigger. And not only are they shorter, they're about the same width, but they are thinner. So your 5-gallon stir stick is like almost 3 times wider than the 1-gallon. So it'll be a lot heavier, but it'll also be a lot stronger. Now this is gonna be the most jank throw together that I've done in a long time, because I want it to be super quick so I can get out and plow the driveway today and not like next week. I mean, if you've watched some of my build videos, they just weeks, months, in fact. So let's do it. So first things first, I'm gonna figure out how long I want this plow to be. It needs to be wider than the truck, but not, I think that's too much. I think the truck's gonna run out of traction if it's that wide. But I also wanna make it angle. So if it angles, it still needs to be wider than the truck. And what I'm thinking is somewhere right in there. So let's get a mark on that. I always have a marker on me. You'd be surprised how useful this is. Very precise. I am super good at this. So this is just a piece of maple that was left over from another project. Maple is a very hard wood. These paint sticks are pine or fir of some sort. It's a very soft wood. But because this is so thin and it's very, very strong, I'm going to use this as the bracing behind the plow. Now I used a 1-gallon paint can as my radius. It seemed like it was about right for the plow. And I'm gonna cut out 4 of these. And it's basically gonna go behind the plow this way to hold that curved shape. So that's the radius all cut. I'm actually gonna do the same thing on the back side of it now to reduce weight. And because it's such a hard wood, it'll probably be okay. Even if it wasn't hardwood, it'd probably be fine. It's a toy, right? I had a brilliant idea. I got this paint can, right? Well, it determined our radius for the plow. And all I'm gonna do is stack up all the bits of the plow around the can, and then take my pieces, I've now curved off the backside, make it a little bit lighter, and it's gonna go like that. Next one will get glued there, and it'll hold the shape of the plow, and I don't have to, like, you know, hold it myself. How we're gonna hook this up to the truck is I have this little piece that I've notched out so conveniently. It's going to go onto the axle. You see that there? And it's gonna pivot around the axle this way, and I've cut it out to make space for the steering rod, and it actually hits the body first, which is good, because I don't want it to go too high. I'll have to set endpoints or something for that. And then I'm gonna take this zip tie and basically just put a hole through it there with a little screw, goes down through, and then this will wrap around the bottom, and I'll put another hole and a screw right in there, and that'll be our hinge. And it doesn't have to be super hard that way, or strong, because it's always going to be pushed this way. So I now have these mounted. That was more of a chore than I thought, but just as I had planned, the zip tie goes around the back of the axle and just bolts back into there. And I was able to find some like plastic screws, actually just like this. So they have more of a coarse thread than your traditional machine screw that you're going to use in an RC. I also have this mounted here, and that's for my pivot, so the truck can, or the plow can go back and forth. Now I just need to get the other side of that hinge bolted to those, and that will also tie these together and keep them from flopping around. And then I'll have a functioning plow, but not a powered plow. That'll come next. All right, this is where we're at. We have the main arms frame all done. I think it's all done. We'll see if it holds up. I might put another one of these cross braces further back in here just to create more stiffness. Not a bad idea. I have the pivot for the plow, which is all part of the same thing. This isn't just bolted. I did hot glue it on either side when I put it together just to keep it from rotating, but then the bolt is to keep those from separating, so I'm hoping that is strong enough to do what it does. And we have a working plow. Now, servos. Let's figure this out. This is my servo mount to lift it up and down. I took a ton of measurements to get, this is just cut out of a sheet of ABS plastic. You can buy that on Amazon, link below. I already had this kicking around, obviously. It's an emergency build. That goes in there, and then I've got these two screws, set screws, that will go in and keep this from coming out. That's your bumper mount there. And then the body sticks out to about here, this line, and my servo is going to mount like that. So in here, I'm gonna drill 2 holes for the servo, and to keep it from just wanting to pull off when we lift it, maybe I'll lift it from down here instead of there. Anyway, just had that idea as I'm talking here. It's the wrong piece. This is the right piece. This is gonna bolt right on the front of that to help hold the servo in place. And so I measure the thickness of this and then cut that in half, and that's where I get this line going across the bottom, and then just whatever looks good to drill holes. And then I take my punch, this thing, I sharpened it down to a nice point. I put it right where those crosses are, and I push down and spin it to create a little dimple to drill a hole so that I know it'll be exactly lining up with where the hole is to be there. So I got a little carried away and forgot to turn the camera on, but I think I explained everything that I wanted to do, and I'll show you. But I think I explained everything I wanted to do. So here are the results. I have my up and down servo, which is actuated there. Then I have my turning servo down here. And it only is all of the servos on this receiver are only 2 position. So I can't go right and left. I decided straight and right was the way to do it. As you can see, just a little wire going to there, and then this has something interesting on the bottom. I just took this really strong wire. It's actually the same wire they use to hang drop ceilings. I pick it up off of job sites, and I pounded this end flat and pounded that end flat until it was wide enough that I could drill a hole in it. Got a hole in each end, and then I just figured out where I wanted this hole based on it being straight in one position. And then would, so that's how that works. And then figured out where I wanted the other hole also by how much I wanted it to angle. It was important that it didn't run into the tracks when the tracks were turning or when this was turning, so yeah. I was afraid of that snow building up on the plow. Won't let it actually sink down into the snow. But it works. Excuse the furnace. Here's a fun fact. let me show you. I just cut this out here. That piece that's on the floor, that's still hot. But I cut it out with a wheel like this on my Dremel. It was this big when I started. It is now this big. So probably not good for heavy duty cutting. I probably should have just gotten the angle grinder out. But it did it. The reason I cut that out, it's cool now, is this is the cutting edge now for the plow. Because what I found was it would just ride up on top of the snow. So I've painted it and I'm gonna bolt this cutting edge to it, and we're gonna see how much better it actually pushes snow instead of riding on top. So after a long day of playing around and snow blowing the driveway, after that initial test, I decided paint, it's gotta be cold when I take it out next time. It can't be like room temperature and go out because then snow just sticks to it. And a cutting edge, and the plow's ready to go. Paint's still drying, but this is awesome. So we can angle it. And like I said before, because it's only a 2-position switch on the radio. Now I know what you're saying. What about this switch up here? This is 3 positions. Yes, but that is 1 servo and that's a different servo. So it's really just channels 5 and 4. And what I did was I hooked the 2-speed shifter up to that one. So when I lift the plow, I can go real fast backwards, but then I can go fast forwards if I need to, or slow forwards. So that was kind of ingenious. And this is what it looks like all up in here. It's pretty compact, if I do say so myself. That's your pivot servo. That's your raise and lower servo. I managed all the cables back in here. I don't have the cover to receiver box fully sealed up.
which is okay. Because, I mean, it might get a little damp. Well, I don't know. Those tracks kind of throw a bunch in there. We'll see. I might have to actually seal it up. But you got the one servo wire there that runs up into it. The other servo wire just kind of tucks down and underneath. And can't wait to take this out tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll make a running video of this thing plowing snow. Because it's probably my last opportunity, honestly, for plowing snow. So I spent like 6-8 hours today working on this. It was fun. No 3D printing, no Fusion 360, all just in the workshop doing stuff. And most of the material you can get for free. Obviously you have to buy servos, but those are the cheapest servos you can get on the internet. There'll be a link up here. And they're metal geared, they work okay. Check that out. And the plastic, which I already had, and the rest is paint sticks and screws. I'm pretty stoked. Thanks for watching. Just a reminder, don't settle for things as they are. Just make them better. Thanks for watching.